What is your number 4, sir?
We're going back to Ricardos, man.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. I'm glad. I didn't know. Yeah, I wasn't sure what you would think of this because I know we talked.
I really enjoyed it. I'm not one of these weird Sorkin people that like just frigging love the Sorkin writing style.
For sure.
Oh my god! But I'm like, hey, buddy, like, take it down from like a 12 to like a 7.
I love seeing
like
people talk fast in hallways.
I love them. Like, everyone's so shitty and short and back and forth with each other. It's just like that. I was like, Sorkin, your style is not what real life is like. Right. No one in real life talks like you're writing them to talk. Where have you been, Doc? You know what I mean? Like, I've never experienced a setting in a room of people speaking to each other like Newsroom or Facebook Movie or A Few Good Men or Molly's Game or any of the other frigging Sorkin movies out there. You know what I mean? Like, they don't talk like that. It's fun to watch. Like, it's fun to watch like an NBA game, but like, that's not like real life or whatever. You know what I mean? So like, just chill the fuck out. And I think he finally kind of did that in this one. And there's only a few moments that I really was like, oh, here comes the Sorkin-ness.
Yeah, that was kind of a little bit of my, like, that's honestly why I kind of ranked it a little bit lower in my top 10, was like, there's certain times where he takes himself a little too serious, like those black and white flashes where it kind of goes into Nicole Kidman's mind as she's trying to picture the bit, like the seriousness with which they're trying to put together these jokes. Even though I get what they're going for, it comes off as a little bit pretentious, but I kind of look past most of the rest of that because the rest of the dramatic stakes of everything feel so great. And even though, like, I know he does so many things that are set kind of like this, where it's, you know, it's a production and it's about things done, you know, somebody,
like it's behind the scenes showbiz type,
and it's always kind of a person at a critical moment in their life. Like, it's like he never does like, we're gonna tell you this whole person's, like, it's not like a regular biopic or something. It's always like, here's this person at this point in their life and it's crazy for this time, and usually it's kind of showbiz or like it shows all the different tiers of people involved and stuff.
Yeah. No, I thought this was really interesting because what he does is he basically chooses a week that really happened, but then he also he put a few different things into 1 week and then made a movie about what if Lucille Ball was going through all this shit in 1 week, and the drama was as the backdrop of them writing a real episode of I Love Lucy, which really existed. So the movie is a week of behind the scenes of I Love Lucy. They're writing an episode of the show that really happened. It's the one where I watched it last night because I was like, the one where Fred and Ethel are fighting and they have a dinner to try to get them back together. And it is them, the process of them working through the bits and the jokes and all the drama behind the scenes where the characters, the real life actors of Fred and Ethel hated each other, and there was tension between Ethel and Lucy. There's tension between Ricky and Lucy. There's a scandal. So basically 3 real life things happened, but not in the same week.
Oh, did they combine those for the story?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So main plot 1, Lucille Ball is accused of being a communist. Okay. That was one thing. And then there was another thing that was like, papers came out that Desi Arnaz, who played Ricky Ricardo, her husband, was cheating on her. And then the third thing is she has to reveal to the network that she's pregnant. Those are 3 different things that happened 3 different times, but Sorkin was like, let's put them all in this 1 week, and then like let's pretend Lucille Ball is having like the craziest week ever. And so the Fred and Ethel episode was not the actual episode where she was dealing with the communist subplot. So that was one thing that kind of changed. But
interesting.
I really enjoyed it. I mean, J.K. Simmons is great.
Oh, he's the best in it. I laughed every time he opens his mouth.
Yeah, he's just an old school vaudeville actor who's like drunk, but he wasn't drunk in the movie. But he was like an angry drunk.
He always makes allusions to, well, I should be drunk, or why am I not drunk yet, and stuff like that.
Right. So he's great. I mean, I thought Nicole Kidman was incredible. I thought Javier Bardem was amazing. Good. So, I mean, to me, I was like, this is easily some of the best performances the whole year, especially Kidman.
Oh yeah, she's great. So, I and it's like one of those things too, where it's like, Nicole Kidman, she's solid gold, man. I feel like it's like easy to neglect her.
It was supposed to be Cate Blanchett. Cate Blanchett was cast and was originally supposed to do it. And I don't know if she left because of Nightmare Alley or something happened or whatever. But like for like a long time, this was like a Cate Blanchett project.
Interesting.
And then something happened. Nicole Kidman came in, but I thought she killed it too.
Yeah, dude, she did an amazing job. They're both stellar, and all the supporting cast is great. Like what's her name? Alicia Shawkat, and
Tony Hale's in
Tony
it.
Hale, yeah, he's great.
But that was when the scenes behind the scenes of Aaliyah Shawkat from like Arrested Development, remember she was like maybe, right? Mm-hmm. When she's talking to her, I guess her writing partner, like who's like one of the other writers.
Yeah.
Like the bickering, shitty back and forth, like, and the guy Oppenheimer, who's played by Tony Hale, who is kind of like the showrunner. Mm-hmm. I think that was like peak Sorkin-ness of how the shortness and the shittiness and the stabbing.
Yeah, and like, it just feels like inside baseball kind of shit.
Just cutting little remarks and stuff. Yeah, that was peak Sorkin. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. And there was one moment, I can't say it to you guys, but like the thing that, I think the only thing that really bothered me was when Desi Arnaz, Javier Bardem, he confesses something in the very end of the movie. Mm-hmm. And I was like,
yep.
Sorkin, when you wrote this... Did you think this was going to work?
Yeah, like, did you?
This doesn't
would it
work.
play out this way? Probably not.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
Yeah,
sir?
yeah.
That was, and it's right kind of at the end, and it like left such a comical, weird taste in my mouth of like, huh? That doesn't make any sense, dog. You know what I mean? So. But for the vast majority of the film, I thought it was really great. I thought it was fun. It really goes into how like whip smart and cutting and ruthless and interesting and politically savvy and what a good businesswoman Lucille Ball was, because and they talk about it in the movie that like they kind of talk about how Lucille Ball is a moron. Like I Love Lucy Ricardo, the character is a frigging moron.
Oh, and they talk about how they try to infantilize her.
They. I mean,
she always screams, "Wad! Why do we write her?" Like, yeah. There's a great conversation about that.
There's a great, conversation because one of the, the Aaliyah Shawkat character is like one of the main writers on the show, and she was a real life person. And she was like one of the pioneering. I mean, imagine being in the 50s, a female comedy writer. You know what I mean? It's like watching Marvelous Miss Maisel type shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so she was really influential and went on to be like a producer of other stuff and all the stuff. But like, imagine, she was in there trying to be like, she's like, I'm trying to make Lucy not seem like a moron, and to me it was kind of like the Homer Simpson character of like, they do things with Homer where he's an absolute moron. Mm-hmm. Like he's the butt of every joke, right? You know what I mean? He's so stupid.
But then sometimes they'll make him smart.
They'll give him lines that are incredible.
Yeah, like they'll make him just to fit the situation arbitrarily, like be a genius occasionally. Right.
They'll give him just incredibly smart, funny lines with great references to different things, and it makes you kind of like forget he's a moron. You know what I mean? But like you always kind of, and that was kind of the Lucy character. You know what I mean? She was kind of she was the punchline. She was the butt of all the jokes. She was, it was all her plans go to hell. Mm-hmm. She's ruining the pot roast. She lost an earring stomping for grapes in the thing. Mm-hmm. She like, that's the whole physical comedy of I Love Lucy is at the expense of this character. Mm-hmm, right. Mm-hmm. And so I think they did a great job of kind of like, the burdens and pressures of what that is, and being
also like how Lucille Ball, like they really try to press in like she was like tirelessly involved in the process herself. Like
she was a comedy genius and broke down every scene and made it better. And they really go into showing like, oh, she's responsible for even how we set the stage for this. We got to move this scene here. We have him sit here. She just basically shit all over this fake director. Like they created this director that didn't really exist, and they just were like, "You're just a guy calling out stage direction, basically for me, because I run this shit, bitch." You know what I mean? So it was very, very interesting to see how she's portrayed. But she's basically portrayed as like a ruthless, crazy person in two different of our favorite films this year.
Yeah, I mean that's fascinating. I'm more interested. super interested to see Licorice Pizza, but I'm going to keep my eye out for her character in that now. It's the MCU of 70s art house movies or something.
Absolutely.